police officer is caught for lying, they should automatically be fired. Period.
I agree.
I mean, I agree with you. But even more than that, I think what's really important here, the officer in question, there were 2 shots. One was, the last shot was by a black woman officer. That's the one who got promoted. The thin blue line transcends race. It's not about, you know, we talk about all the black people who get shot, but some of them are being shot by black people because the thin blue line is such that they cover up for each other. And so, you know, I agree with you, Roland, completely. If you get caught lying, you should be fired. Furthermore, if you don't have your camera on, why are we relying on bystanders with their phones when it ought to be the body cam that you're supposed to have on your body? That's why it's called a body cam. You know, so,
again, because they want to turn the audio off or turn the video off. And same thing, I believe if you turn that camera off,
bye,
gone. Michael,
I just don't. I'm putting my law school hat on. I don't understand the arrogance of the Riverside DA's office. Once the video surfaced, why was there a trial in the first place? They should have been writing settlement negotiations as soon as the video came out. I don't understand what, but they were thinking it's okay.
Because the police
we'll be able to get through
the benefit of the
doubt. Of course, absolutely.
Give them that. Yep. Yeah. And you know, this is another one of those cases where, you know, of course there are levels to things, and in this particular case, when we're talking about life or death. And, you know, if a police officer lies about something, and especially in commission of that type of injury, I think they should just go ahead.
The other piece of it is this. What's the correlation between these shootings and mental illness? I mean, many of the police officers have not been trained to deal with the mentally ill. So this guy was, by description, I mean, he got into it with some people at his house at 3 a.m. Someone called the police, and then at 6 a.m. they found him. They said that he was bipolar, whatever he was. And so we see a lot of these cases where, you know, somebody, he had his pants down. He was no threat. He was no threat to anybody. I mean, he was mentally ill, but he was no threat. But
why is the first thought to pull a gun? Why isn't there also a taser on their hip?
Or something.
Why can't they tase and then you can live to fight another day and talk about what happened?
Well,
why do you have to use a bullet?
Some people have died from the taser, but in more cases, you likely to live with the taser. No, because here's why. The reality is the Supreme Court has allowed the standard to be that a police officer can use deadly force to protect them. And the problem is what these cops have done. I go back to the case, Kajima Powell in St. Louis, when a mentally disturbed man, they call the cops, they tell the 911 dispatcher, this is a mentally disturbed man. He is ranting and raving on a corner after he grabbed 2 energy drinks out of a store. This happened shortly after Mike Brown was killed. She's on the street corner. He's yelling and screaming. And there's a video that was shot of him yelling and screaming. And this was actually, so it wasn't like it was instant. And so he's yelling and screaming. Cops roll up. And from the moment the door opened to the first shot, it was 16 seconds.
Yeah,
it was 16
they can't load it for bear.
seconds. It was like, well, no, they get out of the car, and their whole deal was, and so he had to get like a butter knife in his hand.
Yeah.
And he literally, he was yelling, MFs kill me. That's what he's yelling.
Yeah.
Okay, now
So
I'm sorry, if you're a cop,
you know something.
If 2 cops roll up, and the dude is yelling, kill me, your first response would be, this SOB crazy.
Right.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
He makes a step. He is, I'm talking the distance, it wasn't like we were this close. Boom, they unload.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm honest about...
Killed him immediately.
Yeah, I'm honest about stuff like this. You know, even being a Republican, you know, I remember that what was Tamir Rice, 12? And I remember how
that was
felt.
less than a minute.
Yeah, we're talking about seconds. Within the time it takes me to say this right here, he was dead. They arrived on the scene and he was dead. We can ascribe it to say, well, you know, and I don't even think those officers were...
and that officer, remember, this was a reject from another police department. They had fired him in another department, and he came and shot this child within minutes. But the fact is that we have been accustomed to giving...
I'm just trying to figure out how the hell you get promoted.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure that one out.
After you cost the county $2.5 million.
So I just want to show this here. Go to my iPad, please. And so this was the Kajima Powell shooting. Cops show up. You see he's yelling. You got to pull the audio up. He's yelling. He approaches them. Look again. I just want you to just, and they were shooting it.
I remember that.
He steps on the embankment.
Yep.
Watch this. He literally. Okay, for the BBC. Okay, I don't know why.
So they're not going to show you the whole video.
Okay, right. So first of all, I would have pulled. I remember I was trying to find the actual video the brother posted, but it's sort of the same thing. I think part of the other issue here, which we have to deal with, is which is the problem in this country. We keep seeing people who are mentally ill who are shot and killed, and police officers, and folks may say things happen real fast. There's lots of action. No. If a call is made, in his case, they said, oh, it wasn't relayed from 911 to the officers that he was mentally ill. And this is what happened. Same thing happened in Dallas. Black woman calls the cops. She says, my son is out of control. Cops show up, and she says, I'm so glad y'all here to deal with him. So she walks out of view of the body camera. The son has a screwdriver. The son is playing with the screwdriver. He is fascinated with the screwdriver. Cops, put the screwdriver down, put the screwdriver down. At no point does he grab a screwdriver and come charging at him. At no point. They unload, kill him. The mom is standing right there. She's screaming, going, I called you to save my son. Her call ends up getting her son killed.
And,
Final comments.
We have to be careful in our community about when we call the police. I mean, what we know is that we can't depend on them. They're not our friends all the time. Sometimes they're not. So we have to be careful.
This is also, we know to that point, that's also one of the storylines on Empire. That's a storyline where Vivica Fox is Taraji Henson's sister. Her son is mentally ill. He is beating the hell out of her, about to kill her. Taraji Henson Cookie calls the cops. Sister goes crazy. What's wrong with you? You could have got my son killed.
Right.
Well, because you know that, and because so many, I mean, the pieces of this for African American women often are that when women are victims, there's a you know, a dichotomy. Do you call the police and, you know, protect yourself and also put a black man at risk?
There you go. Absolutely. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each. For the whole year, you can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.